Hey, what's going on, you guys, and welcome back to another video. Hope you guys are staying safe. Hope you guys are having a wonderful night tonight. So we're just going to be doing a quick little update in regard to this system that could drive some severe weather, including tornadoes, large hail, and damaging winds across the states, as well as maybe some ice and snow as well. We'll discuss the models in regard to what we might expect here down the line for the 5th into the 6th. We are expecting the possibility of all types of weather to occur for those dates. Now, we'll be discussing the models like I was saying, as well as the Storm Prediction Center and a few other items here, because like I said, we are expecting a decent amount of potential impacts to occur. We'll touch everything you need to know about the system coming up here right now. We're taking a look here at the Gfs model in regard to your long-range American model here. So we're taking a look at the precipitation type and intensity, kind of showing whether it's going to be snow or rain, as well as how hard it's going to be falling. So we've been monitoring all this moisture across the western coast here. Actually might deliver some snowfall across the upper elevations here. And you might notice we have a new area of low pressure kind of developing here across the central plains here for bits of Kansas into Nebraska. Now watch what's going to happen, especially across the northern edge, kind of across the regions here. This system will track its way up here to the northeast, delivering maybe a lot of ice and snow, kind of across bits of the northern plains into the upper Midwest, especially bits of Minnesota into bits of Wisconsin. Might see maybe a lot of heavy snow, as well as a lot of ice as well. So, maybe heavy sleet as well as some freezing rain occurring here. But a lot of the snow is more further west of the system that might occur, as well as we are expecting some severe weather here for the late portion of the 5th into the 6th here, kind of across bits of eastern Nebraska, as well as bits of Iowa, kind of seeing the heaviest possibility of severe weather. We'll talk more about that here in a second when we look at the Storm Prediction Center, because they already have a risk out, and we honestly could see all types of severe weather. This does include large hail, damaging winds, as well as tornadoes, unfortunately being a concern here. So as we do track down here further in time, we'll start to see the system exit the region here. No big deal here after the severe weather and a lot of the winter weather does occur. We will start to see a little bit of winter weather occurring across the northeast, but not as much as we are expecting here across bits of the Midwest and 2 bits of the plains. Now, there will be 2 parts of the system. That's the thing here. So like I said, we were looking at the later portions of the 5th. Now we're looking at the later portions here of the 6th. We will have a new area of low pressure drawing its way through the region, kind of forming here across the Midwest, tracking its way here to the east, drawing another cold front, potentially more snow across the Midwest into the Ohio Valley, a little bit more shifted lower than that first wave is expected here, basically from the 7th into the 8th, which could drive some more severe weather across the southeast, something that we definitely need to continue monitoring here over the next few days, because this, honestly, this can still change, but this has been popping up in the models here for quite some time now, which is showing that there is a lot of support in the fact that this actually might play out here. So it's definitely something we have to continue looking at. So we looked at the precipitation type as well as the rate. So now we're taking a look here at the snowfall accumulation out of the system, basically from now the 2nd into the 8th. So we track down here in time. Like I said, we might see some snow across those upper elevations here, as all that moisture driving some snowfall might actually allow for accumulations to occur. Now, these areas here, you do see the pink, kind of 6 to 10 inches is expected, but honestly, for those upper elevations, that's really not too much snow. We track down here and further in time. Now, like I said, we are expecting some winter weather to occur across bits of the northern portion of the Midwest and to the plains. Like I said, the areas here in pink may be showing 6 to 10 inches, but there is some isolated spots, according to your Gfs model, that we might see over 12 inches of snow, kind of across this maroon red shaded color here. But for the most of the dark blue, 3 to 5 and 1 to 3 inches for the light blue. But like I said, you really can't just trust one model individually here. So we're going to take a look at the Ecmwf model here in a second. So now let's look at the ice accumulation in terms of what we are going to expect to see here in regard to this model. So switching on over here to the freezing rain accumulation from this model. Like I said, you really can't just trust one model individually here, because, honestly, each one has its own opinion. So track down here in time, you might get some ice forming across the northern plains, nothing too crazy, but a lot of the bulk of that ice really starts to kind of kick off here, basically 4 bits of the 5th into the 6th, really starting to see a lot of heavy ice accumulation. Now, this model is showing the possibility we could maybe get over an inch of ice across bits of Minnesota. It's definitely not impossible. The models are showing this, and honestly, these models are known to be quite more aggressive, especially the Gfs model and the Ecmwf. We are looking at the possibility of well over a half an inch, though, according to this model. So that's what I'm saying. We really can't just take a look at one model. So let's look at the Ecmwf model, your European model, and let's see what we can compare and contrast about these 2 major models. Okay, so now, like I said, we are taking a look here at the Ecmwf model. This is your long-range European model in regard to things. So this one is actually a lot less aggressive in regard to what your Gfs model had to say. It's kind of funny is that usually the Ecmwf is a little bit more of the, more of an aggressive model here, but, this one's showing significantly less snow, which is showing that there is still a lot of disagreements. So this needs to be ironed out here over the next few days, showing a lot less snow here for bits of the upper portions of the Midwest, a little bit more for bits of the central and northern plains going on here. So like I said, this does need additional monitoring here over the next few days. And like I said, guys, if you are new to the channel, consider hitting that subscribe button. That'll be greatly appreciated. We'll give you guys all the latest weather information you need to know. We do nightly live streams at 8 o'clock Eastern time every single night. So we will be doing another one here today. So turn on post notifications. Do not make sure to miss out. So that's what we are talking about. So we move on here to the ice accumulation here. Because like I said, we are expecting two nasty sides of winter weather to occur out of this system. Maybe some ice across bits of the northern portions here of the plains. Nothing too much expected. But then we have this other ice. So this one has a totally different story and compared to what your GFS model had to say. First off, completely get rid of all the ice across bits of Minnesota. I mean, maybe a little bit, but nothing impactful, really. This one has that a lot more shifted to the east. Now, you might notice Wisconsin still getting hit pretty hard, but also totals are very, very low here. We're talking, I mean, much lower compared to what your GFS model had to say here. We're talking maybe up to maybe 2-3 of an inch. There is a lot of disagreement between what this model has to say and comparing to your GFS model. So this does need additional monitoring here over the next few days because this really could go either way. So guys, let's go ahead and move on here to the severe weather side of things. Like I said, we have a few things we do need to talk about in regard to things, so catch you guys here in 1 second. Alright guys, so now we're taking a look here at the Storm Prediction Center side of things. Like I said, we do have a risk for severe weather here for day 4. Even though this says day 5, this is late and this actually does need to be updated here because this is out of date. But we do have a threat of severe weather here for Saturday. This does include bits of northern, central, and southern portions here of Iowa, as well as northern portion here of Montana. Sorry, not Montana, Missouri here. I get those M states mixed up sometimes here. But we do have a 15% chance of seeing severe weather. Like I said, there's a possibility of all types, including tornadoes, large hail, and damaging winds. This does include the major cities here across the regions of Iowa. You can see down here for yourself. So that is what we are talking about, guys. There is a 15% chance. You know, the fact that they did issue it this far out is showing that there is some support. There is some confidence that this will actually happen. Like I said, there has been a trend here in the models over the last several days, which is kind of pointing towards this will actually play out here. Now, like I said, for day 5, I mean, sorry, for today's day 5, but this is, like I said, this is not updated here. For day 6, we still have predictability too low. But like I said, we are expecting severe weather to occur a little bit more further south. We are going to see the severe threat track its way from bits of the Midwest, a little bit more down to the south. We'll see that more here in a second when we look at the models again in regard to basically thunderstorm potential. Alright guys, so we're taking a look here back at the GFS model. We're taking a look here at a different side here. This one shows a little bit better in regard to the severe side. So as we track down here in time, if you guys want to follow the time, it's right here, March 4th. ATZ kind of pointing towards the later portion of the day, kind of around afternoon hours. So we track down here in time. You'll notice that we can start to get all these little wind barbs pointing to the north, driving up all of that warm energy here from the Gulf of Mexico and fueling it inside of the country. Now, there is a bit of a cap, what we call an effect here, basically where you see these kind of lines going through. So essentially what a cap does is for any thunderstorm that, any thunderstorm, they rise. And a cap is basically just negative energy pushing down. So if you have enough energy pushing down on the atmosphere, it'll prevent thunderstorms from forming. And that's actually what we are seeing here, right where these lines are located. However, you might notice there is a slight break here between those lines across bits of eastern Iowa as well as bits of northeastern bits of Missouri. This is where that area of low pressure, like we were talking about, is going to form across bits of the Central Plains and track its way up here to the northeast. Like I said, there is going to be two systems, or two waves of the systems, I should say, that you're about to see here. So we will start to see a lot of this instability starting to drive its way in here across bits of Central Plains, across bits of Nebraska, and through bits of Iowa, maybe even bits of Missouri. This is that region. We did have that 15% risk here for basically for day 4 now. So that is what we need to continue monitoring here. This area of low pressure will really kick up those wind speeds across the upper levels of the atmosphere, really driving a severe potential. Maybe, like I said, tornadoes, large hail, and damaging winds being a concern. So just for fun, we're going to go ahead and take a sounding here across bits of northern Missouri, kind of break things down from a level. Now, I'm sure you guys do not know how to read this, so I'm going to kind of explain this the best I can. So we're taking a look here at the atmosphere. So basically, this is looking at it from a side view. These are basically your temperatures. The red here is basically showing your outside temperatures basically across the levels of the atmosphere. This is the lower levels of the atmosphere. This is the upper levels. You can imagine right here kind of being the mid levels of the atmosphere. So we are seeing all of our energy between your red line and your dotted blue line. This is where all of your instability, which is needed for thunderstorms to develop, is going to be pretty much across bits of the lower and mid levels of the atmosphere, kind of stopping around 8 kilometers. So basically storm tops are going to reach around 8 kilometers tall, according to this model. Now that is okay, you know, that is definitely a supportive, and it definitely can cause some severe weather. I will say there is some pretty interesting things going on with this sounding. First of all, we have a relatively dry atmosphere across the mid-levels, which actually might support some hail growth. So there you go. There's a threat for hail right off the bat. DCAPE, this is your downdraft energy, basically showing over 600 joules per kilogram, which honestly is showing the fact we could see some damaging winds in excess of 60 miles per hour being possible here. We have our northerlies, basically our lower level jet is tracking its way up here to the north, and as we go up in the atmosphere, this will kind of turn to northeasterlies, showing that there is a bit of wind directional change here in the atmosphere that might allow for spin to kick off if a thunderstorm decides it wants to form. So we can even see this here in our hodograph. You can kind of see that veering shape here, basically showing that essentially that the wind directions are changing as you go up in elevation. So like I said, tornadoes, large hail, and damaging winds, unfortunately, are going to be a concern with the severe weather here for basically March 5th. Okay, so guys, now we're taking a look here at the temperatures. I kind of want to show you the motion of the system in terms of what is expected to happen. So we get all this advection. You can see these little wind barbs pointing to the north. All that warm air drives its way up in the country here. Area of low pressure does develop. You can really start to see that sharp gradient line. This is right where that area of low pressure is located. All of this cold air starts backing in behind this system, and all the warm air does the opposite. It starts pulling up from the south. So this will track its way up here to the northeast. You can see driving a cold front across bits of the Midwest. As you can see, kind of tracking across bits of Iowa. This is right here where this area of low pressure is located. On the eastern side, it's where there's the most instability as well as the most wind shear, basically just winds at certain elevations, which allows for severe weather to break out. So we'll notice all this cold air driving its way down, but honestly, it starts to kind of withdraw. It starts to kind of fall back here. And this is where we're going to start to get another area of low pressure. You can see right here across Arkansas, driving that cold air a lot more further south, kicking off that cold front, allowing for more storms of fire a little bit more to the south, across the southeast. So that is what we are expecting. We are expecting pretty much 2 rounds of this, 2 different areas of low pressure to drive its way across the region here for the 5th into the 6th, driving all types of severe weather. Like I said, damaging winds, hail, and unfortunately tornadoes are going to be a concern here. So that is something that we need to look out for. But anyways, guys, that's going to go ahead and wrap it up here for the quick update. If you have any questions, guys, feel free to throw them down in the chat below. Like I said, we are going to be going live here again at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. So if you guys do want to join us, make sure you hit the subscribe button as well as leave on post notifications. It'll be greatly appreciated. I really do appreciate all your support, guys. Thank you all so much for all of your support. Thank you guys for so much of what you do. Seriously, it means a lot to me. And like I said, if you have any questions, throw them down in the chat here. Or if you want to wait till the live stream, you can do that as well. But anyways, guys, thank you all so much for joining us tonight. And I'll catch you guys here in the later live stream.